Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us here today. We are sitting with Paul Barclay, the CTO and co-founder of Game Credits. We want to dive into his background a little bit, but first off, Paul, we're sitting at the brand new of another beginning and exciting year. How did 2021 treat you?
I mean, kind of it sucked, didn't it?
Yeah, some of it did.
2021 was not in my top 10 years of all time, but at the same time, it was a great year. Like we got to do a lot of really interesting stuff. Family and kids are all healthy, so overall, yeah. Like I could have done with a slightly better year. Maybe 2022 is going to shape up to be that slightly better year. But yeah, it was good. Other than pandemics and other, I don't even want to remember it. That's
Fair.
just it did not exist. 2021 did not exist.
Fair. I don't think asking for a slightly better year is too much to ask. I mean, a lot of people are like, this will be our year. It's like, don't say that. No. Let's hopefully most of us make it out alive, and I'll be happy with that. And I just want to be able to go to a New Year's or Christmas party without fearing getting sick.
So parties, yeah.
Remember those, man? That was a good time, wasn't it?
Parties this year might be nice.
That'd be a good time. But anyways, I digress significantly. So first and foremost, you got a really colorful background. You did a lot of interesting things to past companies. And I think that'll be a good start to getting into this story with Game Credits. Tell me about some of the amazing companies you've worked for and some of the things you've done in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I started off as a automotive software engineer. That was interesting, but not interesting maybe for this audience. So we'll skip over that and go to the company that you're probably referring to, which is I worked for Wizards of the Coast for more than 12 years. Starting off working on Magic, working on the rules and design, then working in the new business department. I was the first producer that didn't hire me. I said, this is what we need to do. And then I did it. And then that sort of like kept on moving, and then I moved into digital gaming and some product management work. So I spent a long time there. Had a blast of time. It was a fantastic place to work, especially like being in R&D and designing games and coming up with really wacky stuff. Got to play a lot of Magic. Got to play a lot of D&D. Got credits from some great games, got to meet a whole bunch of fun people over the years, traveled to all kinds of cool places. It was the gaming life back in the day. Like it's a little bit different now. They're bigger, they're more corporate. They're doing great. They're doing fantastically well. And all the friends I still have there are loving it still. But I left to try something different, try my hand at some new stuff. So I started a gaming startup called Dragon Foundry, and we built an online trading card game. It was a great game. In some ways we were unlucky, in some ways we weren't quite as polished as we should have been. It did not have the giant success, but it got good critical acclaim. It got a bunch of people talking, and it got me into software and coding, and eventually into blockchain. So I went from there running a gaming company to partnering with the Game Credits team on their gaming tech and backend. And from there, we came up with a plan to basically resurrect the Game Credits token. That, if you can believe it, this Game Credits is one of the oldest cryptos around from 2014. If you can remember 2014,
crypto
8 years ago now.
Yeah, that's like 100 years in typical finance world. I mean, like, it's crazy. Crypto's changed so much since then.
Yeah, there's nobody who was alive in crypto back then that's still alive right now. That's how fast crypto ages you.
Exactly. I agree completely. So that's interesting. So, how much do you think like working with Wizards and such really helped you refine your creative process?
I think a lot. It was a big part. Just seeing how different people figured out their particular creative processes. And I was kind of lucky because I got to work on both the Magic side and the non-Magic, the D&D and board games side of things, and very different creative processes. Magic's all about make a new cool set every 4 months, then 3 months, then 2 months, then 1 month. Right now, I think they're up to like something new and cool every week. But it was there always has to be something coming out,
Yeah.
and it always has to be cool and different. And it was a big production, lots of people involved, and just like understanding like all those moving pieces really helped for sort of later life. Like how am I gonna make things happen? And then the board games and Dungeons and Dragons side of things, a lot less like smaller teams, very different creative process, lots more sort of individual creativity. So you ended up with these more wacky, more different designs, different more interesting flavors. I think that's the big thing in my creative sensibility is why do the normal thing when you can do the weird thing?
That's fair. That is basically the essence of D&D from my experience. Don't try to build a campaign for people that expects them to solve basic riddles or anything.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, yeah, like if you look at D&D and you really look at it critically, what you see is, okay, we are, as our party of player characters, we are clearly the bad guys. We're going to go and walk into a bunch of people's homes, kill everybody, take all their stuff, and then go to the bar afterwards and get drunk.
Okay.
We're not good people.
In
that world.
That's 100% true.
But it lets you have those kind of sort of different, interesting creative experiences that you just couldn't have it any other way. And like I feel like we get a little bit of that in the sort of digital gaming space, but it's a lot more. There's less of it than there was. Like the big games now are all like this, like super polished, tightly controlled, not as much sort of
risk taking is honestly what it comes down to. They don't want to take a lot of risk. They have the profit margins they're aiming for and so on. You see a lot of
it goes back to sort of like the magic model way. Like you do take risks. These games are all absolutely taking risks, but they're taking one risk at a time, and they're making like one change and like incrementally improving. And like I think there's plenty of room for people like us and a bunch of other game devs out there, and the whole crypto space of just like, let's go and try something that's completely ludicrous. Like this might never work. It might all fall on its face, but we think we got a good idea and we think people will like it. And you see that replicated again and again in the crypto space. And sometimes it doesn't work. A lot of the time it does. Like it is kind of like refreshing, like getting into the crypto space from the gaming space, where it's like generally, and maybe this is just because we're still super early in the market, but it's like generally like the things that people are trying and aren't like outright scams work. Like stuff generally comes together. Interesting things are made. There's all kinds of like strange and wonderful projects, especially like in the like the NFT art space, like all these kind of wonderful, strange and creative projects, all still very similar in some ways. Like there's kind of like this cookie cutter of what you're supposed to do with an NFT project. You're supposed to make exactly 10,000 of them. You're supposed to keep like 1,000 for yourself, and that's how you make money. You're supposed to give the rest away at really low costs, and then like make sure that some big influencer tweets about you. But like if you look at the actual underlying creativity, there's some awesome stuff coming out. Like the lit thing that just got released with Robert De Niro, sort of like showing, and we're getting super off topic, but I don't care.
Okay.
Getting like the facial expressions connected to Ethereum price changes. It's like, yeah, it's kind of like silly and simple, but at the same time it's like, this is like, it's cool that this stuff can exist, and like these kind of artists that would have like 20-30 years ago been just writing fanzines and like 100 people would be super excited about them, and now like kind of famous and getting paid to do their art, and can then don't have the same risks that they used to have, and like they can now go and explore even more stuff. It's like,
what I'm really curious with you is, I've played some trading card games over the blockchain. I guess name dropping, if I had to edit it out, I will. But I play Splinterlands. I don't know if you've ever heard of that one.
Yeah.
I played that one and the crypto games are getting pretty good. And with the trading cards that are NFTs, you own them. I like Magic the Gathering, as we established prior to our recording. And the problem is like on the mobile apps and stuff, I buy the cards. I don't actually own the cards. They're not actually mine. I can't resell them. I can't trade them. I can't do anything like that, really. But with the NFTs now coming into play, it's opening up a lot of doors for people to utilize the blockchain to do things that you couldn't otherwise do. You can even validate that you're not getting jimmied out of buying a pack and it not having a good card in it. You can authenticate that, hey, this was made with this on there, if you know how to read the blockchain.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. Like there's some things that people have been sort of wishing for with blockchain gaming that just aren't true, but that one is true. Like one of the things that people really have been wishing for is like, I can take my Call of Duty skin over to Fortnite. It's like if it was an NFT, it's like that's never going to happen. But that's not actually the cool case anyway. Like I feel like the cool, and I think actually a lot of the really cool cases haven't even been explored yet. It's like we went through like the CryptoKitties era of totally valid game. Like you're basically, there's one action, you breed, you get something random and different. It's interesting. It's a social experience, but with a little bit of gameplay around it. Then we sort of had the sort of degenerative gambling phase of the crypto gaming. So like everyone bets a bunch of hot potato money and someone walks away with money. And like, is it a game? Yeah, it's a game. Is it? Do I think it's fun? No. Do other people think it's fun? Yes. Yeah. Then we got into like this like current round of sort of slightly more featured traditional game archetypes that are hitting the chain, where it's like you've got your one company behind it, like Gods and Chains, Splinterland, whatever else. Mm-hmm. Like it's really is like, I don't want to like have a decentralized versus centralized fight, because that's not really what this is about. But it really is sort of a very traditional gameplay mechanic, just like well monetized using blockchain. And most of these games are successful because there's a niche that other people weren't playing in. They entered that niche. They did pretty well in terms of content, and they've got pretty good gameplay. Like is Splinterland or Gods Unchained a Magic? No, I would always choose to play Magic over those games, but it's like they're offering things that Magic is not offering, especially in the digital realm. Mm-hmm. So I think that like that's where we are now. But I think where the real sort of promise of blockchain is not so much the I can own things and sell things. It's the ability to collaborate in different ways, and really like so like you imagine that you've got a bunch of people over the world who own pieces or elements of a gaming content, like different buildings or lands or whatever it is. You can design social gaming mechanics that encourage and reward collaboration between people, which isn't really something that's rewarded and encouraged in a lot of games out there. There's a few, but they're not the ones you think of. It's like the Robloxes. Mm-hmm. Doesn't really encourage collaboration. It's all about I make my own thing and then try and get other people to play it. Minecraft, there's one where you've got a whole bunch of types of collaboration, but it's limited in what can be done. The old school MMOs are probably the place where you had the most sort of collaboration, but only around gameplay, like the raids and party mechanics in those. You're an OG RuneScape, not a
not the newer ones, dude. I don't think I could even try anymore. Like it's not the same. It's the nostalgia goggles, right? Of wandering around, having no idea what's going to happen and getting killed and losing all your crap.
Yeah, I was always a competitive gamer. I technically did play World of Warcraft once. I walked over past someone's keyboard while they were AFK, and pressed the back arrow because they were getting whacked by some monster. So technically I saved someone's life in World of Warcraft, but I was a StarCraft player. I'm not a good StarCraft player, but I was a bad StarCraft player, but I had a blast playing StarCraft. And then Dota, League of Legends, stuff like that. I went
to Dota because I was not good enough at Warcraft 3. So I just hopped over to Dota because I had to control one guy and maybe a couple minions, and I could handle that.
Yeah.
That
And I went to League of Legends because I wasn't good enough at Dota.
fair enough. Just down the totem pole. Down the totem pole you go.
I think actually of the totem pole, League is the better game. I'm going to get a ton of flack for this, but I feel like League League is the better game because it and this is like another of my gaming passions. It's like the accessibility of gaming. It's like Dota was just less accessible. It was playing within the bounds of the Warcraft 3 engine that it was built in. And we're not talking about the Valve Dota. We're talking about
the original Dota.
Original mod Dota, yeah. For those of you who haven't checked it out, you probably should. It is an experience. But yeah, it's like it didn't have that sort of quite ease of play that the League of Legends had when it came along. So like for me, it was just like I could not worry as much about like every minute little action, and I could like take a step back and think about actually what does my character do, and like, oh, that graphic was cool, and like I had enough time to experience what was going on.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that blockchain games haven't yet solved. I think that the accessibility is still frankly garbage. We've got to do a better job on that, and it's going to come over time.
We sit in a very interesting space because crypto itself still isn't very accessible and diversified yet. It's still very niche at this point. It's getting better. It is. And then gaming is now significantly further than it was 20 years ago and increasing its accessibility. But now we're talking about gaming within the realm of crypto. How can that be improved, do you think, at this point?
That's a good question. I think again, it's like not trying to shoehorn things in. Like if you don't need to add NFTs to your game. Like if you just got a regular game, you don't need to add NFTs to it. It doesn't even necessarily help you. But there's all kinds of things, there's all kinds of little benefits that crypto starts to give you in terms of identity, and having known identity, but also being able to sort of still be somewhat anonymous, can be a super powerful driver. You don't want too much anonymity because then you get like just a bunch of people cussing each other out. But like a little bit
on 4chan. It's just
I will say I have avoided that experience, but I do understand it. I think there will, again, like I think what we're doing is really trying to drive on the collaboration and community approach of it. It's like saying, okay, we know how game dev works. We know what you need to make a great game. We know there are a bunch of people who have a ton of great ideas and input and skills, but like are never going to be working in a game dev company. Either they've got other job, like they've got a 9-to-5 job, or they've got some skills, but like they're never going to be the first one picked, or they have some skills but not experience. It takes a lot to break into game dev. So we feel like we can activate all those people, and this is like millions and millions of people across the world, to start down the road of making interesting games and collaborating with other people to do it, not just like doing it on their own. Yeah. In their own bedroom, but really like working with people, because people is what makes working with people, not just the individual, working with people is what makes games as good as they can be. Nothing else comes close. So I think that's one area where just because the economic incentives change with a blockchain game, you can build the way we're building up is you've got basically a foundation DAO that can fund out people and provide resources and can provide the sort of glue between everything without people having to worry about where their next paycheck is coming from and paying back VC investors. There's lots of great things about VCs, but one of the things about VCs, if you take VC money, you will continue to take VC money until you no longer control your organization.
Yep.
Whether that's you don't control it because you've had a successful IPO and an exit, or whether it's you don't control it because you are dead in the water. The end result of taking VC money is you don't control the organization. And when you're trying to build a community-driven organization. You just have to, you need a different approach to do that. Luckily, crypto is great at that.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of the sort of, I don't think any of the necessarily even this current crop of DAOs are actually going to necessarily be around for a long time, but they're moving us in the right direction. We're learning a lot from the successes, from the failures. Like we're learning that you can't just like say, okay, we're just going to set up a contract and that's going to be that's going to control everything. Because really, what's important in any organization is not the rules about how money is spent, but it's the interactions between the individuals in the organization. So you need to set up your rules for your DAO or your other type of organization to drive the right behaviors of people in the long term, to the extent that like you need to figure out how to get people to do things that will be in the best interests of the next crop of people who will be involved in this organization.
Yeah. I mean, if you really look at crypto as a whole, as we had said at the beginning, things move so fast in it. Everything's going to change. And in 5 years from now, things are going to be so unrecognizable in the industry again. I mean, people are always looking like, hey, oh, this went times this and this went times that, as you know, you got your crypto moon bros and so on in the space. But there's a lot of coins that existed back in 2014 that you would not recognize at all anymore.
Oh, no,
they're completely gone. Yeah. There's a survivorship bias definitely at play here.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So I guess, Paul, what I want to ask you then is, so what attracted you then getting on with game credits as opposed to like starting a new project? As you said, kind of resurrected from 2014, brought back to life. What was the incentive behind that for you?
I think for me, it was, again, it went back to the people. It was like the people who were, to Jason, who's our CEO, who was sort of instrumental in pulling that together. Steve Wand, who's a big player in the crypto space, has been involved in this the whole time, and a few other people. It's like again, like we talked about, like, hey, we've got, like, on the Dragon Foundry side, we had all this tech. On the game credit side, they had the good brand name, some good recognition, some good fits with like existing exchange listings, etc. So like some good positioning, but it had just been left fallow and mismanaged for 3-ish years. So it was kind of like the timing made sense, and generally, again, like if I have a choice between like I want to do it myself or I want to pull more people together to make something happen, like the pulling more people together is going to be the thing that's going to win out. So yeah, it's like I like the story of game credits. It was like I liked the original vision. There were definitely a bunch of like road bumps over the way. It wasn't the cleanest, smoothest project out there, but it all fit together pretty nicely. So yeah, and I think we definitely kept on moving things forward. We were like 18 months through into the merge. So I just got everything's just running super smoothly. We're getting to make some really exciting, interesting new things. And it's like the stuff we're working on wasn't even a thought when we started talking about pulling these products together. Like the whole, again, as you said, like this market just moves and it changes and things are different and things just stay different. And like that's what attracted me to working in it, is like I like things that are new and interesting, and I'm not scared of risk. Like partly I'm lucky I'm in the position I am, so like I don't have to worry too much about risk. Like if everything fell apart, like I'm in software in a major US city, so
yeah, you'd be able to do a job. I mean, yeah. The way I've always looked at it is the downside is pretty limited. You can only go down so far. Upside is unlimited, guys. Get out there and take some risk. Obviously, have some level of control over yourself, sure, but
yeah. But again, that kind of goes back to what I'm talking about with these building out this game dev community. It's like we can lower the risk for other people to have creative endeavors a lot build the base tech that they can build on. We can help them organize, help them with funding. Like there's all these levels of things that we can do to build out this stronger, more resilient community.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, Paul, when we first started talking about it, it's like, well, how do you get people to play your game? And at this point now, you're discussing more of a how do we help people realize the potential of their untapped human creativity?
Yeah, exactly.
Which is fair enough. And I think, you know, a lot of people forget about the democratic aspect of a lot of blockchain and crypto. For, as you said, the ones that were never meant to succeed, were just meant to be rug pulls and stuff. They go away. Right. They eventually go away.
Those ones are massively successful for what their goals are. We just don't like their goals.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like,
yeah.
like almost all these rug pull projects are successful, but yeah, no, I do not like these goals. Almost all these scammers are massively successful. Do not like them. Do not want them. Would love, like I would take yeah, like some way we got to clean out all that stuff from the industry. It's got to be gone.
It takes time, but
it takes time. It takes the thorny regulation. It takes a whole bunch of things. It will never truly be gone. Like there's still like telephone scams going on today.
That's most of my phone calls nowadays. Anytime someone calls me, I don't know the number. Does anybody even answer it anymore? Like, let's be.
I answer them because I kind of like want to stay up on their latest tech. like what are they like? What are they actually doing? And like, how are they trying to do it? And like, why is someone yelling at me in Chinese that I'm pretty sure is a scam, but I have no idea how to.
Speaking of, what's that little sound you get? The bloop? Like where you just know it's like a spoofed call. You know what I'm talking about? It's like a little like weird digitized water drop sound where it's like, I know I'm getting connected to someone who's on the other side of the planet.
No, it's like, yeah, it's like definitely, oh yeah, this is not good. Like I take a call, it's like, I should not have taken that call. No need to take that call. Nobody calls me anyway these days. Like other than my parents, they call me, but it's like everything else is like, it's text, it's messaging, it's like, it's people I have a known relationship with.
Yeah, I get more Facebook calls than anything now. Honestly, if someone wants to just talk, it's usually they call me over Facebook or Meta. It's Meta. Well, the platform's still Facebook. Whatever. Whatever.
I don't care. I quit it except for the Messenger because I can't go without it because lots of people want to talk to me on it.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, listen, Paul, I feel like we have digressed so far. We've got to know a lot about yourself and a lot about why you got involved, how you got involved, and the things that you're specifically bringing to the team. So is there anything else you feel like people need to know about you? I guess, looking at the era that you were involved with Magic, were you responsible, or Wizards of the Coast, were you responsible for the death of land destruction or 4E?
I was one of the people, I would say I was more responsible for the death of land destruction than most people. One of the things I did when I got there was I had a crusade on getting rid of 3-mana land destruction. I had a lot of support because other people didn't like it as well. But yeah, that was something that I definitely championed. 4E, I have some war stories over 4E. I did not like the direction it was going. I wasn't able to control it or adjust it. I was arguing for what Wizards has done with the second half of 5E, which was just like, just do the core stuff and get busy on licensing, get busy on taking this amazing Dungeons and Dragons brand and getting it out into a whole bunch of different types of experiences. Yeah, but like as far as D&D goes, I'm like you probably guessed that I'm a 3-5 person through and through. It's like that's how my brain works. That's where my fun is. Like I like some role playing, but I like my mechanics. I like being able to do weird things and totally break the game in all kinds of ridiculous ways. And yeah, our play group at Wizards was the playtest team for the D&D development team. So we tend to just like go wild and like do as many weird things as we could, just to like see like, is this going to work out? How is this actually work in real gameplay? So it was fun times. It was super fun playing in that group.
Yeah, well, Paul, I mean, honestly, it was enlightening talking to you, and not only about this, but getting to know someone who was responsible for putting together a lot of things that I have wasted tons of my time on. So it was a pleasure talking to you, guys.
Not a waste of its fun.
Yeah, on the next video, we'll actually dive deeper into game credits itself and talk about the Genesis worlds and everything. But for now, we're going to cut it off here, guys. If you have any questions for Paul, let us know and we'll happily dive into them. Paul, have a wonderful day.
Thank you.